Hey yo, what's good guys? Another video here. Today we got what powers does the Queen of England actually have? I put up a little poll and most of you guys said that you're interested in seeing a video like this. So let's get to it. First I want to say before we even get into this, RIP to the Queen. So all my British people and anybody who, you know, actually knew much about the Queen, I am sorry gravely for your loss. Like, it is obviously never good when somebody dies. And I didn't really know much about the Queen. I still don't, which is why I'm watching this video. And I figured if I'm going to do a video about her, I'm not going to do it all about her death. I want to learn more about her life. So I figured this is a good way to do that. Let's get to it. Let me know if there's other videos like this you're interested in seeing me react to.
Oh, I'm Simon.
I genuinely don't know anything about the Queen.
Whistler, you're watching the Today I Found Our YouTube channel, and in the video today we're looking at what powers the Queen of England actually has. And just before we get started, I do want to say that this video is brought to you by Tunnel Bear.
No, you ain't not getting no sponsorship on my channel.
So a short while ago, we put out a video about the fact that Queen Elizabeth II neither needs a passport nor a driving license, thanks to a quirk of British law. But what other powers does the Queen of many titles have, and what could she theoretically do if she decided to flex the full might of the authority that she wields? As it turns out, thanks to the royal prerogative, a terrifying amount, if she really felt like it, or at least that's assuming Parliament went by the letter of the law, and that the people didn't decide to stage a small revolt. In reality, the Queen rarely exerts even a fraction of the power that she theoretically wields, as it's kept in check by the only person in the UK who can tell her what to do, and that's herself. This is very much a calculated move on her part in order to...
Off the rip, I respect that, because there's a lot of people who go insane with power. Like, I can't... If I was made the king of any country, I can't say I'd have that amount of self-control not to go crazy. Which is... So, I must, off the rip, respect that a lot. Like...
stay in the good graces of her subjects. She also voluntarily pays her taxes, even though she's not technically obligated to, and that helps with people's opinion of her. Not only does she avoid openly flexing her political might, she also tends to keep her opinions outside of the public sphere. As historian Frank Prohaska notes, the real secret of royal influence is saying nothing. And anything the Queen does say publicly is pretty anodyne. The minute a monarch or many of the royals say anything remotely political or opinionated, they alienate people and they lose some power. This silence played a large part in how the British monarchy survived post-World War I when other European royal families didn't. In fact, for nearly 2 decades now, the monarchy has regularly had polls run and focus groups put together to keep track of how the general public feels about them and their various actions. They also have on payroll individuals whose job it is to ensure the Queen stays in the public eye and in a way that is most likely to endear her to her subjects. Similar to politicians who rely on the voting public, with each public change she presents, right down to the carrying of a cell phone or not, carefully calculated in terms of the impact it might have. While this may seem only self-serving, the Queen has a very lengthy track record as an admirable public servant, and is also acutely aware that she is a prominent public face representing her subjects, so is keen on avoiding being viewed in a bad light, lest she in turn paints them in a bad light by her actions. As she noted at the tender age...
I have a lot of respect for that. Like, it seems like deep down, even though she had a lot of power, she was, like, at the core, she was a good person. She wasn't really... She did things to help her people, to not make them look like assholes, to, you know, make their lives better. So, you know, if you're gonna have a queen, that's how you want to do it. Like, if you're gonna be a queen, to, you know, anybody watching this who may become a queen in the future, be like Elizabeth. R.I.P. I don't know what the, like, British equivalent to, like, the salute is and all that, so, you know, R.I.P.
Age of 21 in a speech to the Commonwealth she gave on her birthday.
Also, let me say, I'm not saying you guys do have one. I'm just not sure if you guys have, like, something you're supposed to do to honor the queen or the king when they pass. So that's what I mean by that, just because I feel like sometimes I confuse people with what I mean.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and the service of our great imperial family, to which we all belong. Surprisingly, for many years the full extent of exactly what powers the Queen handed off to the government, but technically retained, weren't publicly known. That is, until 2003, when the government released a partial list of the things it can do on the Queen's behalf. For the most part, the list confirms that the government could do things to save the Queen time, such as issue or revoke passports, which simply wouldn't be a feasible thing to be the sole prerogative of the Crown in a modern society. However, some were actually slightly worried by some of the things she could do, like declare war, which under rules of royal prerogative can be done without consulting Parliament. On top of that, the Queen is totally immune from prosecution and is considered above the law in the UK. And further, as a head of state, she also enjoys diplomatic immunity in any foreign country she happens to visit. As such, she could commit any crime conceivable anywhere on Earth, at least as the law currently stands, and suffer no legal consequences for doing so. However, as with
Nah, that's insane. Like, you telling me she could, like, walk right up into a bank, rob that place, walk right out, and nobody could do nothing, because she's just, obviously she doesn't need to rob a bank, but that's just the first thing that came to my head. Or she could have. Wow, okay. Okay. I wish I had that power.
everything else, she's generally exceptionally careful to ensure that she doesn't break any laws. Of course, what she does in private is completely her own affair, despite her prominent political position, as she is exempt from freedom of information requests. So, moving on, because technically speaking,
this video, though, honestly is giving me a lot of respect for her. Like, because I'm thinking to myself, me as a 19-year-old idiot, what would I do if I became the King of England? And I don't think I'd be as great. Like, I do not think I would... I think I'd go a little power crazy. Like, I don't think I'd do nothing too bad, but, like, I feel like I wouldn't be as careful as she was. She did a lot of things to, like, make sure that she didn't break the laws or offend anyone or, you know, shine her country in a bad light. Whereas... just speaking for myself, for example, I don't know if I'd be that good.
People of Britain are not citizens, but subjects of the monarch. She could have anyone she wanted arrested and presumably seize their property or land for the crown. Speaking of which, the Queen owns all of the seabeds around the UK and can commandeer any ship found in British waters for service to the realm. Oddly enough, she also has first dibs on any whales that wash up on shore. The Queen could also administer any manner of punishment to an individual who offended or otherwise displeased her, as the crown has prerogative power to keep the peace within the realm. And since she's immune from prosecution, nobody could really do anything if this punishment wasn't entirely within the scope of the law. If the government tried to stop her, the Queen could decimate the British political landscape by dissolving Parliament and appointing anyone she felt like as Prime Minister. This is because it's the Queen's duty to appoint the Prime Minister, and she could, in theory, appoint anyone she wanted to the position, regardless of the way the British public voted in an election. On top of that, in the event the Queen didn't like the outcome...
That's kind of scary, though. Like... I mean, luckily the Queen was a good person, but, like, that sounds so scary to me. Like, from the outside looking in, it feels like that's a huge risk to have somebody out there who has that kind of power with your whole country. That sounds scary to me, man. I'm not gonna lie. Thank God the Queen was a good person. That's all I can say.
Outcome of an election. For instance, if she didn't like the replacement parliament members that were voted in, she could just call for another one using royal prerogative until she got the parliament she wanted. Not that she'd need to, because if she really wanted, she'd just bring in the army to keep everyone in line. But how does that work? How does she control the army? Well, that's because the Queen is also the commander-in-chief of the entire British military, with every officer, soldier, sailor, and pilot swearing allegiance to the crown and nobody else. They're not called Her Majesty's Armed Forces for nothing. Being considered the ultimate authority on all British military matters, the Queen could authorize a nuclear strike on France or make North Korea an ally, as she has the power to declare both war and peace with foreign nations. As for laws, well, technically the Queen can't create new laws, she can only sign them into law after they've been decided upon by Parliament. In fact, her royal assent is required to make the law official after being passed by Parliament in the first place.
Wait. But if she can control Parliament, then technically she can make whatever law she wants. So that doesn't really matter. Because technically if she wanted to make something a law, all she has to do is bring someone into Parliament who would put that law out, and then voila, right? So, yeah, she... fucking A. The Queen was not someone to be trifled with. That's what I'm seeing here.
The Queen can't create new laws, she can only sign them into law after they've been decided upon by Parliament. In fact, her royal assent is required to make the law official after being passed by Parliament in the first place. She could appoint ministers who'd make any laws she wanted a reality and then just sign them into law that way. Beyond royal assent, there's also the Queen's consent, which requires she give her consent before any law that affects the interests of the monarchy can even be discussed at all in Parliament. She actually has used this power before, such as in 1999 when she refused to allow the discussion of a bill that would have given Parliament power to authorize military strikes in Iraq instead of needing her authorization. So, well, that's all on the political side, but it doesn't stop here.
Okay, so with all the political stuff, just that alone should show anybody who... Because I've seen some crap disrespecting the Queen just online. And it's like, man, that lady could have fucked up the whole world royally if she really wanted to. Because, like, nah, bro. Like, all she would have had to do is just nuke someone for no reason. Wow, World War III. All she would have had to do. So, that is... good person. That's all I can say. She was a very, very good person. Not that I feel like most people would just nuke other countries for no reason in her position, but, you know, you never fucking know, I guess.
Queen technically has a sort of power not only over her subjects' physical beings, but also their souls. Well, how? Well, that's because she's also the head of the Church of England, including having the power to appoint archbishops and power over many other such matters concerning the Church. As for most of these powers that technically allow her to rule with an iron fist, as previously mentioned, the Queen is hesitant to ever use them in such a way that would displease her subjects, and certainly isn't about to disregard their representatives in Parliament. However, these powers still exist for a variety of reasons, including potentially being needed in times of extreme crisis. That said, just because she isn't in the practice of exercising her powers against the will of the people, it doesn't mean she isn't occasionally an active political powerhouse in private. Extremely well respected and known worldwide with the ability to bend the ear of most heads of state, the influence the Queen wields is difficult to quantify, but, as noted in an article discussing why the BBC named the Queen the most powerful woman in the world in their list of 100 most powerful women, Her Majesty's power is more about influence. A discreet nod of the head, a polite word in the ear of a Prime Minister at their weekly meeting, or a strategic patronage of a cause being overlooked by the government is how she can indirectly affect our world without us even knowing. Well, to conclude, the Queen has many powers she could theoretically legally use to her own ends unless her subjects and Parliament simply decided to stage a revolution. However, she generally avoids doing anything overt that might upset her subjects and otherwise simply works in the background, more or less in an advisory role when she feels there is a need. So I really hope you enjoyed that video. Now, if you are interested in protecting your privacy online, well, then you really should...
Is all this just NordVPN bullshit?
...with them, and to me, I like them because they do... It uses something called AES 256 encryption.
Alright, yeah. I don't care. Well, this was an interesting video, honestly. I gotta say it. RIP to the Queen. Like, to all my British followers, I'm sorry for your loss. To, you know, anybody who possibly knew the Queen, I highly doubt anybody who knew the Queen is watching my YouTube channel. Definitely sorry for your loss. Like, it's a shame. Like, I really didn't know too much about her. I'd like to learn more, like, actually about things she's really done. So if there's a video out there about that, and you guys are interested, I'd gladly watch that. But yeah, I'm out. Bye. With